Okay, so we listened to the main music from season 1, and I really wanted to explore this. There's 2 videos here. The makings of What Could Have Been from Arcane, which is my favourite song, really. It's the one that Sting sung. And then it's also another video here called The Making of Goodbye and Guns for Hire. And it's on We Are Mako. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Like I said, I saw this in the behind the scenes and I knew I wanted to kind of go through it. So without any further ado, let's crack on with this because I'm fascinated to see how this all came together. Here we go.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Alex. I also go by Mako.
Hi, Alex.
I am a co-composer and songwriter on the Netflix series Arcane, which came out just a couple weeks ago. It's been a crazy and exciting month for us. We've been working on this project for a long time. I've been on it for about 3 years, so having it come out and seeing the reaction and all the fan art and like the covers of the songs and just all the like discussions about it is...
Can I just say, he's adorable. Secondly, I'm always amazed at how like truly talented people are actually quite shy. I mean, I'm quiet and quite introverted, but like I'm always amazed that if I had the level of talent these people had, I definitely wouldn't be this quiet. Like, it always fascinates me how modest and sort of quiet people that are really, really good at what they do are. It fascinates me.
Surreal. It's really, really cool. And I don't think any of us really expected this kind of level of a response. So it just kind of makes the work that we put in all that more rewarding, and the team.
Just imagine, they didn't expect this kind of response, which just, it's crazy to me. Did they not know what they were building? Like, how good it was?
That is behind Arcane is incredible. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about them and also talk a little bit about a musical piece from the series. So part of what I did as a co-composer alongside one of the most incredible composers I've ever met, his name's Alexander Temple, is we worked on a lot of the background music, a lot of the orchestral stuff, things that were happening, musically that didn't involve singing. And then what myself and a producer named Sebastian Najand were chipping away at, alongside an incredible roster of artists, by the way, was an 11 song pop soundtrack that was created specifically for the show, like to picture, which created a lot of interesting challenges that I think would be really neat to at least share through this one song here. So what I have in front of me is episode 9. This is a song called What Could Have Been. This song was so meaningful for us to work on, and I remember early on our fearless leader Christian, the director, came up to me and was just like, hey man, we need you to do the last song and don't screw this up, like nail this, which was just terrifying. But I was really like...
Can you imagine the creator of Arcane goes, hey dude, we need a song, don't fuck it up. Can you imagine the sheer weight on your shoulders, by the way?
Honored to give it a shot, and I found, interestingly, that as soon as I dove in, it was, funnily enough, like one of the easier songs, I think, to write, because, and I didn't realize this till a little later on, like, I made this demo, and I started playing it for people, and I would get choked up, like, while I'm playing it for somebody. So like a total psychopath, they're listening and then they look over at me and I'm just like getting choked up. Like, what, are you crying to your own song, buddy? But
I've cried to my own songs. I've written stories and cried to it. I've cried to my own songs. I think if you don't have an emotional response to your music, that's more of a psychopathic behaviour, no? I think you've got to show emotion to your own work. I think it's a dangerous day when you don't show emotion to what you've built, genuinely. I think it's much healthier to cry at your own work than not.
I was really moved, and I was just kind of thinking the whole time, like, why am I so emotionally involved whenever I play this song for people? And I realized, like, I've been sitting with these characters for, like, 3 years, heartbreakingly familiar, which I think now that the show's out, I think a lot of people are kind of connecting with it and can understand what I'm saying. Like, there's just something, even though it's fiction, there's just something incredibly lifelike about them and what they're going through. It was definitely emotional to get it down on paper, because these were the thoughts that Jinx is having in her head. I felt like, the sensation of being completely abandoned and her perception of being just thrown away by Vi is so heartbreaking. And then her like declaration of, we had everything, and you meant everything to me, and I was yours to like create, to make however you wanted, and you threw me away. And
I said this in, I think it was my reaction in the finale in 209. They've very subtly made all the characters get that bit older in season 2. Like every act, they look. It's not just Vi's having her like punk rock stage, and Caitlyn changing. There's this gradual progression of age. Obviously, there's the big time jumps, but they still were able, even if there was just a month, like a 6-month gap, they would make the characters age. It was very well done.
In addition to like, I want you to feel the pain that I felt just saying like, we had everything in this. What could you even imagine what could have been? And I really liked sort of landing in that place of what could have been.
I've never realised Caitlyn's hand moves there.
We had everything in this. What could you even imagine what could have been?
I didn't realise her hand twitches there. That's mental.
And I really liked sort of landing in that place of what could have been, because we needed to do a couple things here. This is definitely a Jinx and Vi story, but it's also like a Piltover Razan story. So one of the important things was just kind of...
It became a story of everyone at the end, didn't it? If anything, after the finale, it's really a Jace and Victor story. If you look timeline-wise, the first crucial event was Jace being saved as a child. Really? No? I mean, you could argue it goes back to Ambessa and her youth and things like that, but it's a Jace and Victor story as well. That's a crucial relationship within it.
Of like creating a statement that could apply to both situations. But yeah, I'll talk all about that and the process of writing that song to this scene. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is What Could Have Been. Okay, this is the project file for What Could Have Been. I should start off saying it was mixed by an incredible mixer named Robert Orton. Unfortunately, we're not going to hear any of his mix right now because these are the stems that I sent him to get mixed. But he did such a great job. And also some of the Ray stuff in here was actually written by Christian, our director. And then Alexander Temple, our amazing composer for Arcane, made that bridge solo that you hear Ray play in the album version, that really long virtuosic thing, all him, and that was incredible.
Yeah,
so it is. This was, like I said, kind of a scary one, but one of the first things that I'll generally do when we're getting some of these scenes in is just take a look at like the VO, take a look at the picture, just kind of find out if I can spot any available real estate to get some writing in, some words in edgewise, because it's usually not too great if vocal lyrics are competing with dialogue. That's something that Seb and I discovered pretty quickly throughout the process of the whole soundtrack. Was anytime we plugged in normal songs that are happening in important dialogue moments, the whole thing just washes out and it doesn't really work. It's not as effective. Thankfully, at the beginning of this sequence, after Jinx sits down in the Jinx chair, and she says those last couple things to Vi, like, we've got some room here. So I just started writing. I kind of turned the picture off for a bit because I just kind of wanted to have a clear head about it. And I put together of an early demo that I had sent over to the team. I'll play it for you real fast. This one right here. I am the monster you created. You ripped out all my parts. I couldn't care what invention you made me, 'cause I was meant to be yours.
Here's to the new us.
I am your ghost, a fallen angel. Clipped my wings, they flew before. And worst of all, for me to live, I gotta kill a part of me that saw that I needed you more. I hope you know we had everything. I really like with that, like the first line of that
chorus or pre-chorus, however you want to look at it. The words, I hope you know we had everything, and it goes, it's not like they made that like cry out or go really loud. It stays low, like it stays at the same sort of, and the same tone as the verse. And it makes it all, it's not like they need to shout it to you, it's almost like they whisper it. It's very, very well done.
Well, you know we had everything.
You know what I mean?
When you broke me and left these pieces, I want you to hurt like you hurt me today. And I want you to lose like I lose when I play what could have been.
There's like a very subtle, I don't know if it's auto-tuned there or if it is like an added distortion, but it reminds me of that Victor crackle to his voice that he has in like season 2, act 1 and 2.
It's like I lose when I play what could have been.
Do you know what I mean? A little bit. I know it's nothing to do with that in terms of what the song's related to in the show, but it reminds me of it.
I support Councillor Tallis's proposal for peace.
He's right, by the way, it never works if you try and overlay. Like sometimes you see fan edits or whatever, and they take just a normal song with lyrics and singing or whatever, and then they try and put voiceover over the top. Or you see YouTube shorts of people trying to do it. It just doesn't work. But the fact that they use the character dialogue in between the gaps is just very, like, it's very subtle. It's something you don't notice until you hear it done wrong. You know what I mean? A bit like how I said, like, good background sound and the Foley work. You know it's bad when you know it's there. When it's just in the background, it's almost like surround sound. You don't really know what you're hearing, but it just sounds perfect. You don't pick up on it. That's how you know you've done a good job, kind of thing.
I support Councillor Tallis's proposal for peace.
You can almost see him getting choked up there as well,
Sweet. Yeah, so actually the first demo that I sent them only went up to the vocoder section where he says what could have been. Everything after that is what we figured out since, which I want to talk a little bit about because it was really tricky for a while to get all the pieces together. When I'm scoring the show with Alex Temple, the sort of background instrumental music, it's a little bit easier in some respects because you can change time signatures, you can cheat tempos and expand them or contract them. You can do a lot of subtle moves to match what's happening on screen that the audience is never going to notice. Like, I figured out all the little stages of it so carefully, but thankfully, pretty quickly I was able to see that, like, if I cut out a line or two, everything could stay intact. Losing those lines didn't take away from the story of the song, which was really important. Animation takes so long and they're working so hard on it. What we'll usually get is like half developed or rendered like versions of picture. I don't know how animation works, but Fortiche is god tier. So anytime they send us stuff, I'm just really excited to see what they've done, and then we'll just start writing to it. Area here where I say what could have been. Now, normally at a point like this, if I was just writing a song, I kind of consider that vocoder area like the chorus because it's got the whole central theme right there in the title. The tough thing about this is that what's happening on screen didn't really lend to that kind of arrangement. So what happens here is we've got a little interlude of calm instrumental music, which is pretty cool. It's like pretty normal thing, even in a just standalone song, to do something like this.
I support Councillor Tallis's proposal for peace.
And then when we got here, this is what vexed me for a long time. It took me a while to figure this section out. So Jinx fires a rocket, and it's so magnificent looking that it was pretty clear to everybody, like, something magnificent needs to happen in the music. So first thought, which is what I would probably normally think, is, okay, let's take the chorus then and just send it up an octave and go full epic with it. So I tried that, and it totally didn't work. First off, sending it up an octave was way too high of a range. It sounds really crazy. I'm really stretching for some of the notes, and I can't even hit the full phrase, so I have to go down. It's a mess. And then the other issue was, when you've done that, what do you do with the rest of the song? Like, you're already at level 10. There's nowhere else to go. So we were so stumped. So I'll play you that here. Oh, yeah.
Councillor Talus's proposal for peace.
This is so fascinating, by the way. Oh yeah, that's really interesting. It doesn't work, does it? I mean, it may just be the vocal. I don't know, but it sounds too strained. He's right. It doesn't allow you to go anywhere afterwards. No, it doesn't work.
I don't even know what I'm doing in this area. I was just messing around for a bit.
So broke, can you throw me away now? I want you to lose.
Yeah, I'm totally missing the plot here. I'm not hitting anything anymore in picture, and I am just rambling, and I think that's because I was like, oh, I already spent the big payoff, so what happens next? And this is an example of what we dealt with on a lot of the series, was just like having to kind of retrain our brains to dream up sections that we wouldn't normally when we're writing a song.
Mm-hmm.
And we had sort of like a spoken commitment that, like, when we make the album version, we'll rearrange them and make them all make sense. And so sometimes the album version is quite different, but in a lot of cases we ended up liking this. Like, it just kind of still feels nice, and as soon as you've finished it and made it sound nice and intentional, you can get away with, you know, some weirder arrangement choices. This just felt great. The picture's quite calm, so it was an awesome opportunity to just sort of develop our verse material.
I'm just going to say as well, it's interesting, the focus is on Echo's like pocket watch as well. I'd never noticed that at the time. Now, obviously, knowing season 2, it makes a lot more sense.
Another slight, not quite sure what we're doing, but
It's meant to be yours.
as it happens a lot, where it's just, I need to vamp, I need a couple bars there before the next rock hit. Oh yeah, that was another thing. That very last what could have been. We knew we wanted to have it somewhere, but we didn't get the final sound effects from our team until fairly late on. So it was a little bit of a guessing game of like, okay, where's there going to be a little gap in the sound effects, like post her armor shimmering and then pre the rocket hitting the glass, where we can just sprinkle it right in there. And I just that one I think was a little earlier than what we ended up with. At this point, we didn't have an artist yet, and a lot of times we're just working so early in the process that we're not quite sure the artist we want. But from the very beginning, the discussion was like, man, it would be great to have like somebody with some real weight to their voice, something iconic quality about them. I mean, this is the very...
I mean, it's just, like I said, I'm annoyed I didn't realise it was Sting when I first heard it, but it is, I can't think of someone doing that any better, because I think I said in the last music reaction video, Sting's got a very... There's a raspiness and a huskiness to Sting's voice, but he's also got an ability to really sing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he doesn't need to belt out something, like he can actually sing. So you need someone that almost it's going to work well with that orchestral sound. And yeah, I can't think of anyone else other than Sting, to be honest with you.
Very last scene in the entire season, and this means so much for so many reasons. So, like, what could we do? And I remember from the very beginning, we had Sting as #1 at the top of our list, and I was like, there is no way we're going to be able to get him. This would be way too cool, but I can't even imagine it. And by some miracle, we sent him the song, and he connected with the music, which I think was the most important part, because after working with him, it was so clear, like, he's such a generous and musical guy. I remember the first session with Christian and him, we were just talking about classical music and coming up with references and just going all over the weeds, and it was really fun. And it just felt like...
You see what I mean, though? Like, he's just said they're, like, sitting talking about classical music. You need someone who... Like I say, they're like, Sting has a voice that can work for classical sounding stuff. That's what I mean by that, is Sting's very rounded as an artist.
And he really met us there. Like, he got it. He did that thing, but he did it in his own way, which to me is what really made the song come to life for the first time. Because, you know, having him sing it any other style is not going to work, but he sort of like met us halfway, and something about his vocal for me, it takes on this like almost
Look at the amount of tracks he's got in there. That's crazy.
fatherly quality. Still has so much weight, but it feels like this global narrator of everything that's happening, because this is, as much as a Jinx and Vi story, this is this Piltover is on thing. I mean, right as the council is, you know, voting for peace, to de-escalate all the violence. It's just, there's so many global themes going on. And so hearing his voice, I mean, especially like here.
I really like how he doesn't hit the H on hope, because it just shows Sting's accent a little bit there. But I like, because if you was to say it like, I hope you know we had everything, you would, the I and the hope would just sort of merge it. So it's I hope, but you don't really hit the H, and I really like that. A little like dun, sort of, it like jumps it. You know what I mean?
You broke me and left these pieces. I want you to hurt like you hurt me today. And I want you to lose like I lose when I play.
I love that so much. I mean, it's
So do I.
so cool to have him do that. And then the fun part for me was like when we get to this next section, it sounds like classic Sting to me, and I was so happy to hear it. I mean, who says love like that? It's Sting.
Yeah.
Like, you know it immediately. I was pretty giddy when we were tracking this stuff. So that was just like such a...
I won't just listen to that again.
Oh, happy to hear it.
Yeah.
Reading everybody's comments was so funny, because it was exactly what we were experiencing when we started working on it. We're just in the team, like, is that Sting? Like, are you serious? And everybody's comments is the same thing. Like, was that Sting in the 9th episode? And there's something about a voice like that just has so many like decades of like imagery in people's heads that it'll transport you in a way that I don't know too many other people that could. So we're really blessed to get him. So that is the song. I guess with a little time left, I'll just talk a little bit about the instrumental, the track. There's not a ton to say here because it's pretty basic. I kept it very organic.
He says it's pretty basic. Look at what he's showing on the screen. It's pretty basic. Yeah, no, it looks really basic.
Very orchestral. That was that we all sort of agreed that we should go with a more classy and organic approach. I had just gotten this Yamaha piano right here next to me as we were working on it. Which I just love. It has this like felt pad that you can basically click on, and it covers the entire It covers all of the strings, so the hammer's hitting like felt before it hits the strings, so it has this very soft, like delicate and intimate sound that works perfect for this. So that was a piano, a bunch of analog synths and stuff that really just added texture, a little magic. That was important to me, that if we were gonna bring in some synth stuff, that it be analog, just because it's, you know, me tweaking dials and making mistakes and having weird accidents happen, and just things that felt very human, rather than maybe like a plug-in or a VST synth that everything's gonna be like precise. So that was...
I think it's something you notice as well. In a lot of modern music, it's all a little bit too perfect. You know, like when you really hear someone sing with no auto-tune, to a degree, and it sounds... There's bits where you hear almost like a wobble in their voice. You miss it. When everything's too perfect, you really miss it. And it's the same with the instruments as well. You kind of need a little bit of a human element to make the instrument itself come alive a bit more. I always think, in my personal perception, of course.
Great. We obviously have Chen all over this thing, and oh my god, like Ray is... Ray's good at the violin, it turns out. We're so grateful. We have him all over the season, and him and I were coming up in college together, so we have a lot of fun stories of just like growing up and being idiots. And now to work with him on this level and to see everything he's up to, it makes me so happy. So yeah, cute. So you know, piano, lots of different synths that are just textural like that, and then nothing too exciting until we get to final chorus. This was really neat. We were so lucky on the score to be able to record almost all of it with brilliant studio musicians in Berlin. And so we were able to borrow those folks for a couple of the soundtrack songs. This one, and most notably Guns for Hire, episode 6, which was a blast because Woodkid wrote these string parts that were unbelievable, and then we got to, you know, dish them out to Berlin and hear them covered, and they're featured so prominently. So it's always just so nice when you like get to book a session and actually make it worth it. And this was another situation like that, because for so long I'm sitting with little MIDI strings that I make, like fake placeholder strings that sound like this.
Good, but nothing compared to, like, you know, it's good, but it's nothing compared to what the real thing sounds like.
And it's just, you know, on a keyboard, just holding 2 notes and doing the thing. And so then when Temple sends me like these stems, oh man, it's Christmas. Let's see.
It doesn't even compare though, does it? Like just the initial hit of that, it doesn't even compare.
Let's see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was amazing. Temple just sent me those stems of the Berlin Orchestra doing it. I was like, thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you. I'll take those. Thank you very much. I'll have those.
I think I might have mentioned, like, after we had finished this episode version, we had a conversation. Actually, Christian knocked some sense into me, because all along he was on my back about this little bridge into dead silence and then just the big modulation out of nowhere. He was just kind of like, you know, we have to do this for the episode because it hits picture, but he's like, I really think like you're missing an opportunity here. We should be doing something far classier with that, rather than just like quiet all down, boom. And I didn't totally get it for a while because I was so used to hearing this. And so he sent over to Alex Temple, who wrote that miraculous virtuosic Ray Chen bridge. And it was it was so cool, because I didn't have any ideas either, so I was kind of sweating, like, what am I going to come up with? And to have, I mean, this is the great thing about working with Riot, is that there's so many talented people, and Alex Temple, day in and day out, is writing some of the most incredible orchestra music I've ever heard, so he just hands you that when you're stuck. It's pretty sweet, because otherwise you just go into a dark hole trying to figure things out. So it's just nice to have so many talented people around. So I was really grateful for Christian and Temple to tag me for help there.
Do you not think like how lucky we are to be able to see the making of all the, like, how many other amazing cinematic masterpieces would you, I mean, we're literally like a fly on the wall right now looking at the creative process of really the most pivotal scene of like season 1. How many other movies and shows and stuff would you love to see this creative process of, but you'll never see the people behind it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the fact this has been captured and you're able to sit here and learn about it, there's just something about that that really gets to me.
Because I needed it. But yeah, so this is what could have been. I hope this is interesting. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been one of the greatest experiences of my life to work on this show, and the whole team is so proud of this, and it's a really great team. So yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you for season 2.
We've already seen it.
Okay, I love you guys. See ya.
And he has another video as well, which I'm going to react to in another episode, where he shows you how they made Goodbye and Guns for Hire as well. Like I said, this is just, it's so awesome that we get to see this being made and actually see how this work has been curated from day one. Just being able to sit here and see the project file itself is just mental to me, right? You know, and the fact that Riot and everyone behind it has been so open in terms of being allowing. The fact that Riot and loads of other people involved in the show are so happy to talk about how they made the show, I think it makes me love it even more, to be honest with you. So if you do want to see me react to more, I'm going to react to how they made Goodbye and Guns for Hire, and then I'm going to react to the rest of the music from season 2. And if you want to stick around and see that, the best thing to do is just make sure you're subscribed. About 60% of my returning viewers aren't actually subscribed, so it may be that you think you are and you're not. Just take a look. If you aren't, click subscribe, put notifications on, and if you like this, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to go check out more of Alex's content, just go to We Are Mako on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description. Go check him out, go show him some love as well. You probably already know more about him than I do, but you know, definitely go check him out. And if there's anything else you'd like me to take a look at, just comment it below. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.